Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of the post-match show following West Ham's victory over Crystal Palace by a score of 3-2. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy New Year. Hopefully, everyone had a great Christmas and great New Year's last night. Hopefully, everyone was safe. Great way to kick off the year with a nice West Ham win. I am Chris, and as always, I am joined by my co-host Irish Tommy. Mate, how are you feeling?
Well, first and foremost, very happy that we've got back-to-back wins. Anytime you win away from home, it's a good win. And the most important thing when the final whistle goes is that you've got the points in the bag. And so, we've got them. So very happy from that perspective, but not so much with the performance, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the scoreline kind of tells a different story of what actually happened. The first half, obviously, in my opinion, very even. I think somehow we ended up 3-0 up. I mean, could have been four. I mean, their keeper made incredible triple save. And I mean, Crystal Palace easily could have just scored a couple as well. So, I mean, we were very fortunate in the first half to get the three. And then, especially the last 30 minutes or so, we were just poor, I think.
Yeah, just very fortunate to have a 3-0 lead at the break. Palace started off very well. We were on the back foot. It was all Palace. They could have scored in the first minute. They hit the foot of the post in the first minute. They were all over us, really, and we were struggling to get out of our half, just booting the ball forward, and it didn't look good for us. And, luckily they didn't score. But yeah, they could have had some goals as well in that first half. They hit the crossbar, hit the post twice. We somehow found ourselves 3-0 up amazingly. It just didn't reflect the first half at all. It took us a while to come into the game, maybe 20 minutes or so. But when we did, we played well and we posed a threat, and then just hit them with two absolute sucker punches. Two goals in less than 3 minutes. And then obviously the penalty came, which was really fortunate for us that Milivojevic did something so stupid to gift us a penalty completely unnecessarily. So yeah, I mean 3-0 really flattered us. I thought we were okay in the first half. Like I said, we did have one very good spell. Other than that, Palace probably had the better of the other kind of 30 minutes of the first half. And we're probably scratching their heads how in the hell they found themselves 3-0 down at the break. It was a little bit of a bizarre scoreline, and like I say, it really flattered us, and it put us, which doesn't happen. It happens very rarely, actually, where West Ham find themselves in a winning position at half time. But that's where we found ourselves, and in a position where we should have been plain sailing. But obviously, we need to talk about the goals. The first one, I thought that delivery in from Benrahma was absolutely brilliant. Just a sensational ball into the area that was just begging for someone to get on the end of. Absolute nightmare for defenders to deal with, like running back towards their own goal. Keeper can't come for it. Just an absolutely perfect ball. Antonio was rushing in and managed to get a toe on it and get it past Gaeta in the Palace goal, who got a little touch on it but couldn't keep it out. And perfect start for, especially when you're not on the best of form, maybe confidence isn't what it used to be. When you can go 1-0 up, in a game where you kind of need maybe a little boost of confidence, it always helps. Did I say Benrahma? Yeah.
It's James who always goes back and forth. Where for him, it's Benrahma is one of his favorite players and thinks that he's underrated. So,
fair enough. But yeah, Benrahma just brilliant ball into the box. So he got into it, and we found ourselves 1-0 up. Really, a bit fortunately, Palace would have probably been scratching their heads like, how after the start we've had, how are we losing? And then basically, almost right on top of that goal, we get the second, and Declan Rice just driving out at acres of space in the middle of the field, driving out with the ball, played a beautiful little pass inside to Lanzini, who was in space, attacking the edge of the box. But from there, it was just absolute Lanzini brilliance. It was just an absolute thing of beauty. The first touch to beat the defender who was coming across, and then the little flick up for himself to volley into the net. I mean, just one of the goals of the season, just outrageous skill. And a great
that
finish.
is one of the bigger takeaways from me, I think, of this match. I think Lanzini is finally getting back to his pre-injury self. He's showing that same sort of brilliance. I mean, it was always flashes here and there, but it seems to be more sustained now.
Yeah, I think we probably, a lot of us, me included, I have to say, thought we probably would never see that Lanzini again. That the injury had changed him, But I think a lot of the praise for that has to go to the Europa League, because he was a squad player, he was a bench player. He wasn't a first team regular under Moyes. He would make the odd substitute appearance maybe in the Premier League, coming on sometime in the last 20 minutes. But the fact that he got to play from the start in Europa League games allowed him to find his feet again. It gave him regular football. He also played in Carabao Cup. And that allowed him to find his feet and to rediscover his form, because it was going to be very, very difficult for him to do it otherwise, just on the training ground or coming on and making some substitute appearances. He needed games, and he was getting them in the Europa League and Carabao Cup, so that then when he was brought on as a substitute in the Premier League, he played well in those games because he was on form and he was confident, and he was match fit when he came on. And so when Fornals and Benrahma's form dipped, and we started struggling in those areas a little bit, Moyes then didn't hesitate to use Lanzini because he'd played so well in Europa League and Carabao Cup, and when he had come on as a sub. So, he forced his way back into the team with good performances in Europa League and Carabao Cup, and they've been crucial to him this season in making his way back into the starting 11, and he hasn't looked back. He's been one of our better performers in the Premier League.
I will say that is
the season, and he's basically he's a nailed-on starter again.
Yeah, I agree, and that is not a storyline I would have ever expected this season. That we would see the reemergence of Lanzini and the reestablishment of him as a full-time starting 11 player. So, I mean, hell, I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that we have this brilliant player back. I mean, if he can continue this kind of run that he's on, it's absolutely brilliant. It'd be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I mean, that goal again today, plus the penalty, I mean, the guy's confidence is just sky high right now. This is the old Lanzini. And yeah, he is a massive asset, and it's come at the perfect time, because obviously Benrahma now is heading off
talk about
to AFCON, and Fornals has COVID now, but Fornals' form has not been great. Benrahma's form has been kind of improving again, thankfully, and just as he's coming kind of maybe back to his best, we lose him again to AFCON. So yeah, Lanzini will be massively important for us over the next few games. So it's brilliant to have him back and firing, because I mean, look, when it was easy to forget, but he's showing again that technical ability. I mean, he's amazing. His amazing technical ability. Like, if you were to say just parachute him into the Man City midfield with all those wonderful players around him, Lanzini wouldn't look out of place. He would look just as silky as those players. He would fit in perfectly, and that's what we've got now again with Lanzini. Now that he's got his form back, and he's a massive asset. I mean, just outside of his goals today, just when he's on the ball, the way he knits everything together, he's always moving, looking for the next pass, popping the ball off, moving, lifting the next pass, popping the ball off, and he just makes everything hum in the middle of the field for us. He's like a little quarterback for us, where he just controls everything, and he's such a silky technical player, just a quality player, and I'm delighted that we're seeing that from him again, because I honestly didn't think we would. But
yeah, I mean, it also takes care of Like, we don't need another player in that position. That solidifies it even more. And like you said, with Benrahma off to AFCON, I think at the beginning of the season we kind of worried about it a little bit just based on how Benrahma was playing. But now we have Lanzini to cover for him if we need to. Fornals, when he comes back, if he can find his form, great. And we also have Vlasic, who has looked good whenever he comes on. So just get him more minutes. And who knows what he can do. So obviously Benrahma is a different kind of player, but I don't think we're going to per se miss him to the extent we thought we would. Like, it'll be great when we get him back, but it's not like it's going to kill us in the meantime.
Yeah, with all due respect, I'm really hoping they get knocked out in the group stage.
Yeah,
so,
no, fair enough.
So we can get Benrahma back as quickly as possible. But to answer Lee's question, absolutely. With Benrahma gone, we need more players to cover that position. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the Lingard thing is up in the air. I don't
It
really
sounds
know
like he's
what's
not
happening.
interested in it right now, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, look, it's up in the air, the Lingard thing. I honestly can't speak intelligently about what's going on behind the scenes there or what the possibility is of him returning to West Ham this month. We'll have to wait and see, but I would love to get him back in because with Benrahma gone, we absolutely do need another player for that position. There's no question about it because now basically we're down to kind of Bowen, Lanzini, Vlasic and Fornals, 4 players for 3 positions that Moyes really trusts in there. Okay, at a push, you could put Masuaku on the left of those 3, but he's shite. Even going forward now, like Masuaku offers very little. So I would love to see us get Lingard in or someone like him in that position, to challenge for those places as well, while Benrahma's gone. And even when Benrahma comes back, it's no harm to have another player there, sitting on that
Yeah,
bench to really stock up in that midfield.
yeah, that's where I think the issue comes in because unlike last season, I don't think Lingard slides into the squad immediately. He's played, I believe, since he played for his goal for United against us a couple months ago. I believe he's only played like 47 minutes, so he's not. He doesn't have the game time. He doesn't have. He's probably not match fit, right? Really, and so he doesn't come in right away. So why would he change if the situation's the same for him?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Moyes loves him, to be honest, and obviously
I
he left a
mean, we hope we
huge
don't do it,
impression.
but
He left a huge impression last time he was here. I have a feeling Lingard would go straight into the team like he did last time he joined. I know but like he didn't get much game time before the last time he joined, and he was like a spring chicken. The guy just seems to be supremely fit for some reason, even when he's not getting much game time. But
fair enough.
yeah, I actually think Moyes would put him in immediately if Lingard rejoined. I think one of the reasons Lingard would rejoin is because you're going to play, basically. You're going to
Yeah.
get the games. He would demand probably and expect that. That look, if I'm going to come here, I need to be playing. And I think Moyes would say, I have no problem with that. I intend to play you. So yeah, I think Lingard goes straight in. But look, we'll have to wait and see if that happens or doesn't happen. I don't know where Lingard's head is at, what he wants to do, how he feels about his situation at United. But he would go straight in. But we need to get someone in there. It would also help an awful lot if we can bring a striker in, because if we kind of ran out of options a little bit for the 3 attacking midfielders. If we had a really good striker on the bench, we could drop Antonio back to the right wing and put the striker up top. If we needed to drop Antonio back, that would give us another option in those positions that would help as well. So, get a striker in, get Lingard or someone like him in. We'd be covered, in those positions then, regardless of Benrahma being here or not. But that's actually the lesser of my worries at the moment. It's at the other end, where I think a lot of the problems are at the moment.
Which isn't that hilarious because at the beginning of the season, that's where we thought we were going to be most solid at.
Well, we were, we were for a while, but look, you can't legislate for these kinds of injuries. I mean, for us to have 3 of our back 4 missing, and for a while it was all 4 of them. That's going to be tough on any team if you lose your entire backline, and we're not talking about middle of the road players here. We're talking about absolute quality players in Zuma,
Yeah,
Ogbonna, and Cresswell. I mean, they're absolute. All three of them are just top quality in Premier League standards. These are not, like bottom half of the table, struggling team defenders. These are absolute quality players. Zuma and Ogbonna, Cresswell, Sufal. I mean, that back four was absolutely rock solid for us. It was so hard to break down and get through.
I agree.
Just absolute quality in each position. And we've lost three of those positions. Now, Dawson,
Yeah.
I think, is doing a very decent job.
Oh yeah, he's doing as good as he can.
He's
Diop,
doing. I think Dawson is doing everything he can, and I will not slate Dawson. We
no,
know
not
he's
at
not
all.
as good as Zuma. We know he's not as good as Ogbonna, but he's putting in very good performances, and he's given it everything.
Playing very well too.
Yeah. The problem is Diop. Really, of the two centre backs, Diop is a bit of a liability. Frankly, you just never know what he's going to do next. He can have his good games. Don't get me wrong, where he plays solidly and doesn't make any errors, but you just know the next one is around the corner at all times with Diop. And like Lee, I'm losing faith in Diop. I think, if Diop hasn't cut that shit out now at this point, I mean, he's played enough Premier League at this point to not be doing that stuff. And,
Wholeheartedly agree.
he cost us a goal again today with another stupid, reckless challenge, to make it 3-2. And it was like, what are you doing? Like, that's just stupid. There was no immediate threat. Just stand him up, do your job, stay close to him, make him lay the ball off, and let the other players do their job as well. But to go through a player like that unnecessarily is just a joke.
Yeah,
And really had us hanging on grimly because of it. So, yeah, Diop. Look, if he's a bench player and he's a backup, that's fine. I don't mind. But we can't have him starting every game.
no,
And obviously, look, the other elephant in the room today was Masuaku coming on at halftime. Now, look, I know why Moyes did it
I do too.
because Johnson was on a yellow card and he's a young, still relatively inexperienced player, and he probably if Sofal was on a yellow, for example, he wouldn't come off at halftime because Sofal is older, kind of a bit wiser, more experienced, and Moyes would kind of trust him to not pick up the second one and would give him the benefit of the doubt that he wouldn't do it. But I think the inexperience and youth of Johnson was why he took him off and put Masuaku on. Now, I still would not have done that because Masuaku was a fucking disaster. He's an absolute
It's
liability at
so
left
bad.
back.
He's
That man
so
would never get a minute on the pitch if I was manager. He really wouldn't, unless there was literally no one else to do it. And I include Longello being injured before I would even consider Masuaku.
yeah.
Um,
So
so
what?
that move really was a bad one from Moyes. I understand why he did it, but I would
So
never do that.
with updates at the left back position, I know that Cresswell he apparently has a chipped bone in his back, which and
His
they
arse bone.
yeah. Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know, but they said
his
that
arse bone is chipped. Yeah.
they said that it's worse than they anticipated. There's no timetable um
No,
for
you can't
return.
put a
That's
time
yeah,
on the recoveries for those. You just have to play it by
yeah.
ear and just take it day by
And
day.
then
Um,
we're interested in Anthony Robinson, but he wouldn't be we wouldn't be able to get him in until the summer. So
mhm.
it looks like we're going to hold off on a left back this season. I think we're going to end up having a left back by committee of, unfortunately, Masuaku, Johnson, and maybe Longello.
Well,
But
Cresswell will come back. I mean, we'll get once we
hopefully,
get Cresswell back. Basically, I think the lucky thing for us is that January actually looks quite light in games. We actually don't play much football in January, which is a blessing.
after the last
So,
month, hell yeah, it is.
sorry.
After the last month, how many games we've had? Yeah, that's such a blessing for us.
Yeah, it's a blessing because obviously the players don't have to play as many games, but it's also a blessing because if any damage is done, it will hopefully be limited. We only play a couple of league games, so and an FA Cup game. So both games against Leeds actually back to back. So it will give us an opportunity, hopefully, to get Cresswell back before we play too much more football. And the optimistic forecast for Zuma is that he would potentially become available again at the end of the month, early in February. So if we could get Cresswell and Zuma back in that back line, that would be massive. Because, now look, Johnson will start the next game, ahead of Masuaku at left back if Cresswell isn't available. And Johnson, is much more solid. I would trust Johnson at left back. He had a really good first half, actually, Johnson, I thought.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, so, the important thing now is let's kind of hang in there and try and get a couple of results in January, and then start kind of getting players back, so you'd solidify at the back after that. But I expect Moyes will bring in a centre back anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
I think and I hope he'll bring in a centre back who will play alongside Zuma for the rest of the season once Zuma's back. I don't think it's going to be a cheap stopgap centre back. I think and I hope he will bring in a proper centre back who can play on that left-sided centre back position to complement either Dawson or Zuma beside them, because obviously, look, Ogbonna's gone for the rest of the season, and we can't. When Zuma comes back, we can't really switch Dawson to the left side of centre back. It's not ideal. It's not his position. So that's not ideal. We're going to want someone in there who can play that position comfortably and is a really good centre back. So I think that's what Moyes will do. I agree with you. I don't think he'll sign a left back. I think he'll go with what he has until the summer. If his eyes are on Johnson and that's the player he really wants, he will wait for him. But I think we'll sign a striker as well. And hopefully, if we can get Lingard in, that would be amazing as well. So if we can get a centre back, get Lingard in, or someone like Lingard, get a centre forward in, we won't be in too bad a shape, I think.
Really quickly, before we continue, I do have to give a shout out. Congratulations to Katie on her engagement.
Congratulations, Katie.
Yes.
Very happy for you. What a way to start the new year. Congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations. I needed to get that shout out real quick once I saw her in there.
Just a piece of advice, Katie. Just make sure you never let him sober up, okay?
Damn. Well,
I'm bantering. She knows. Katie knows. Katie knows I love. She knows I love her. She knows I love her.
But yes.
But yeah, then obviously we probably should talk about the game.
Yeah, a little bit.
We got sidetracked till it turned into a transfer show. But yeah, and then obviously second half. Jesus Christ, that was really brutal. I thought we were horrible in the second half. We just just never really got going. No, thankfully we were able to defend comfortably for most of the second half. We didn't really allow Palace to threaten much for most of the second half, but we were doing absolutely nothing whatsoever, on the ball. Really, we weren't getting forward with the ball well. We weren't really creating much by way of chances. A couple of half chances. We were not good second half. I was really disappointed with our second half performance. Every time the ball went out to Palace's right-hand side, I was watching the game through my fingers because Masuaku was out there. It was really hairy out there at times, and we were kind of staving them off then later in the game and just kind of grimly hanging on. And I'm thinking, like, come on, it shouldn't be like this. We're a better team than them. And we're 3-0 up. I mean, we should be comfortably seeing this game out. And we became completely defensive, couldn't get out of our own half barely. Passing was off, and it was just really poor overall. That second half actually I thought was terrible. And but I still thought, it's still 0-0. So, okay, we're not playing great, but it's still 0-0. As long as it's 0-0, I can forgive us maybe not being so great. yeah, I was really disappointed the way we approached the second half, Chris.
No, I completely agree with you. It looked like we came out. Again, when it was announced that Masuaka was coming around, again, I get it. I understand that. I saw someone say that you might as well risk Johnson
Yeah.
out there because
Yep.
we're playing with 10 men if Masuaku's out there anyway. But I was thinking more of this from the point of, okay, if he gets sent off, though, we're out. He's out of the FA Cup and we're even more screwed there. So I personally like the decision, just regardless of the outcome, because it makes sense. Just so that way we don't have to further risk it. But once that change occurred, I knew we could be in trouble.
Yeah.
As well as you mix it in with the age-old or like the year-old joke now. 3-0 is the most dangerous score for West Ham. Just I don't know what it is, but it's the most nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah. Obviously, look, they pulled one back. Again, another absolutely brilliant. I can't remember who played the ball in from that right-hand wing, but it was an absolutely brilliant ball. And again, like the Benrahma cross, it just needed someone to attack it and get a toe on it. And I think was it Edward got his toe on the end of
Yes,
it.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and put it past Fabianski. Fabianski had no chance really with that. And then you're thinking, fuck, don't do this, West Ham, don't do it. I was disappointed that we conceded because I thought we really could have used a clean sheet. We don't get many of
I
them
was looking
anymore.
for it.
Yeah. But even so, I said, okay, it's still 3-1. As long as it's 3-1, we have a 2-goal cushion. I'm not, there's going to be no panic or anything like that, or I'm not going to get too nervy as long as we can keep it to 3-1 or even go down the other end and score a fourth and put it to bed. And then Diop decides to make an absolutely retarded challenge out on the right-hand side of the box, just completely unnecessary. And I just remember thinking, oh, Christ, here we go. Here we go. I just knew what was coming. And again, another brilliant ball. Absolutely brilliant ball into the box. Nightmare for defenders to deal with. No, keeper can't come near it. It's one of those where you whip it in towards that far post. It's kind of like the ball Cresswell would play. Where you whip it in towards that near post, nice low trajectory, and you feel like if someone gets a touch on it and knocks it in, brilliant. If nobody touches it, it might go in at the far post on its own anyway. And that's what happened. And all of a sudden, just as we hit injury time, it's 3-2. And you just, that's when I got panicky. That's when I really got panicky because I thought, right, we're just going to sit back now and try and hang on. And they're just going to pump balls into the box nonstop. And the injury time clock seems to just go so slowly.
Yep.
And
It
it
felt
was
like
really
it was
squeaky bum time.
It just felt like it was going to be a reverse Tottenham. I was literally thinking to myself, okay, this must have been how the Tottenham fans were feeling when we did it to them.
Yeah. I was absolutely bricking it at that point because I thought, like, if they'd have scored an equaliser, Chris, I mean, this would be a very, very different show. Very, very different show. I mean, we would be absolute that the players, not David Moyes, the players allowed this to happen because it shouldn't happen. We should not have been hanging on Grimley in that game. Absolutely no way, no how should we be hanging on Grimley like that. And then you remember that last ball that was pumped into the box. And I think it was Mateta who tried an overhead kick. And when it left his foot, I swear to God, I thought it was going inside the far post. He struck it so well, like Haller style, kick. And I thought my heart was up in my throat. I thought it was going in, and I thought, I cannot believe this. Last kick of the game, they're fucking going to equalize. But mercifully, it went just wide of the far post because Fabianski was well beaten. And we thankfully hung on grimly, kick out came, and then the whistle went. And I think we all breathed a massive sigh of relief.
This is the greatest comparison for Masuaku. I'd like bar none. I mean, that is exactly how I feel with regards to him.
Yeah, but I don't even think he does the spicy thing going forward anymore. Like this season, Yeah, now he did in the past. Going forward, you thought, he brings a little something. He can create problems. But this season, he doesn't even seem to do anything going forward.
No.
Which so it's unforgivable, really, to have the man on the pitch. I would have kept Johnson on the pitch and just trusted him. Yes, have a word with him at half time and say, look, you might get skinned at some point in the second half, like you did in the first for the card. If you do, just let him go. Resist the urge to just have a drag or whatever, or put a foot in. If you get skinned, just let him go and just trust your teammates to scramble and get you out of it.
Yeah.
Just whatever you do, no rash challenges, no silliness. And I think Johnson would have understood, and I think he would have been fine, to be honest. I mean,
I agree.
we weren't under that much pressure down the right hand side. It's not like we're being hammered down the right hand side. There was all fairly basic stuff done it. So it's just Masuaku who can't do basic stuff. So I think that was a costly decision actually from Moyes, and could very easily have cost us 2 points, which would have been a disaster.
Yeah. One other player that we need to talk about too is it seems like he's slowly refinding his form is Antonio. He got the goal today. I think he played pretty well. How he didn't score again when the Palace keeper had to make the triple save, I'm not sure, but he could have easily had 2 today as well.
Yeah, he could have. He does seem to be returning to form. He's still not there yet, but he definitely seems to have improved a bit. Again, I thought he had a decent game, nothing spectacular, but thought he had a decent game. He caused some problems. Scoring the goal will have really helped him, his confidence and stuff. So I think we'll start to see the peak Antonio, as it were. Beast mode will be back, I think, very soon. He's definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and I agree, but kind of switching into the transfer mode here a little bit again, obviously with the window being open, I do still think we need a striker. Someone to challenge him, to partner him, someone to give him a rest if needed, but we need somebody that's decent.
Yeah, there would really... The only excuse I would accept for not signing a striker is if David Moyes says, I have a massive amount of faith in Armstrong Okaflex, and I'm him his opportunity. He is now our backup striker, but he would have to stick to it. Now, I don't think that's the case whatsoever. You can't possibly trust Okaflex that much because he hasn't even played for the first team yet. So I don't think that's the case. If he said that and stuck to it, if say, Jared Bowen was out or something and he decided, look, let's put Antonio on the right and we'll throw Okaflex up front, he's going to get a start, then I would say, okay, I can forgive you for not signing a striker, but I don't believe that for a second. You know how coy David Moyes is about chucking players in, especially young players. So on that basis, I think it would basically be unforgivable if we do not sign a striker in this window. And I don't mean just some journeyman stopgap striker. I mean like a proper number 9, like with talent,
I agree.
who can challenge Antonio for the shirt. Because if you're going to buy some stopgap for it, you may as well just use Okaflex and not bother and use the money elsewhere. So we have to get a proper number 9 in. But what's on Moyes' mind, I don't know. He might see Jared Bowen as his backup number 9 and decide, I'm going to spend the money elsewhere this window. It's hard to know what Moyes' thinking is on it. But I think we have to buy one. I think we absolutely have to buy one. Like, we're only talking really about 3 players. We can surely get 3 players in.
We're one of the wealthiest clubs in the country, one of the wealthiest clubs in Europe. I think we're like 16th or 17th, and that's even before the Czech investors come in. So we should have no problem getting 3 players in, but we know West Ham how we've been in years past. So we'll see. Window's obviously opened as of today, so hopefully we see some movement soon.
Yeah.
But looking forward now, we have 8 days break. And then on the back end of that, next Sunday is the 3rd round match of the FA Cup, home to Leeds. Now, I think I know what the answer is going to be, but are you going with a full strength starting 11, or are you holding some players back for the league, or what are you doing?
No. you put out your strongest team, and go
But
and win the game, or try and go and win the game. Put out your best 11. There's no reason to. There's no particular need to rest anyone in 8 days' time. It's not like we don't play. Is it another week or so after that, or whatever it is? I don't
3
see.
days. 3 days
Is it?
because the Norwich
So,
match that was canceled or postponed due to COVID has been rescheduled for the 12th.
oh, I
Then we
didn't know that.
play again on the 16th.
That's home to Norwich, is it?
Yes, and that our next 3 matches are actually at home. Home in the FA Cup, home against Norwich on the 12th, and home against Leeds on the 16th.
Yeah. Yeah, I would still go with a very strong side. I'd have to really think about the exact starting 11, but it would certainly. I mean, look, defensively, I would still. You have to. Do you have much choice playing Dawson and Diop? Really, you kind of have to. Johnson would play. You might give Fredericks a run, or give Ashby a run on the right.
On the left?
John. Well, I would play Johnson left back.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could give Ashby a run again. He looks a really good prospect. You could take Diop out, put in Elise. He can play left centre back comfortably. You could do that. I don't mind some changes. You could, give a rest to Socek, maybe. Put someone else in there. Put Kral in there, maybe, if you want. As Neil says, you could put Longello left back, Johnson right back. You have options to make some changes and still have a strong team out. But I would still play, Bowen. I would still play Antonio. And like I say, I would still fancy us to turn Norwich over midweek.
I would too. I just want to be careful with that though too. We're in a good run right now, and I don't want it to be upended by complacency. Oh, we should beat this team, so let's take half of our starting 11 off. And
oh no, I wouldn't. No, Jesus, no. For the Norwich game, I would be full strength. Absolutely, it's a Premier League game.
Good. I thought you were saying.
I just mean I would fancy that the players could play against Leeds and against Norwich.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so up front, obviously, I would still go very strong. Bowen and Antonio, Lanzini would play. Vlasic would play. Now we might go Vlasic, Fornals, Bowen, or something like that, which would be fine. I think we'll have Fornals back for that.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
so
you actually look at Instagram.
Yeah, with Antonio up top. So, I would put out a very strong team against Leeds. Yeah. There's no doubt in that. I mean, look, it's still the FA Cup. It's a competition that we want to go and see if we can go win. It's a trophy that we would absolutely love to win. So, definitely you want to be going for it. But we'll see what Moyes does. I think Moyes will make some changes, but I still think he'll put out a very strong side.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm fully in the same boat as you. I think that we go for it in the FA Cup, and then get right back to it in the Premier League. Obviously, we face Leeds again a week later. So I am happy, though, that our next 3 matches are at home. That helps us tremendously.
It definitely does. And, particularly those 2 league games, if we can win at home to Norwich and then turn Leeds over, I mean, we're going to be going into February in a great position, like a great position.
4 of our next 5 matches are actually at home.
And so, going into February, if we win those 2 games, we're in a great spot. I mean, right now we're in 5th. We're 1 point behind Arsenal, who are in 4th. That was a huge result for us. Man City coming back from a goal down to win 2-1 at the Emirates. Big result for us, which we took advantage of, thank God. So we're right back in the mix, and if we've got to be beating Norwich at home. I mean, there's absolutely no excuse for any other result than a West Ham win in that game. And then obviously the Leeds game is a bit tougher, but still obviously very winnable. If we can take 6 points there, we're going to be in really great shape. We should be starting to get players back at that point, and hopefully we've got a couple of new players in to help bolster the team.
This is interesting. I didn't realize this too. On the 16th, the same day we play Leeds in the league, it's Tottenham and Arsenal. So that's one to watch out for that week too.
Yeah, we'll all be kind of hoping for a draw there.
Yeah.
They'll take points off each other, which would be perfect. So yeah, if we can take those 6 points in January, we'll be in great shape. Because like when we go into February, we'll be hopefully have a couple of new signings, like I said, to bolster the team. Hopefully, you know,
And hopefully
we'll
it doesn't go until the last day of the month like it usually does.
yeah, we need to get cracking. If we're going to sign players, let's get them done the first couple of weeks. You know,
I agree.
and at least then, even if they don't come straight into the team, at least then you know there's a couple of weeks there. Reba, come out. At least then there's yeah. At least then there's you know a couple of weeks kind of for them to get bedded in, you know, in January, end of January, you know, before we start the February kind of campaign.
Thank you, Nippon. Appreciate it.
Nippon, how are you? Welcome. So yeah, and obviously, look, we'll hopefully be getting Cresswell back, Zuma back at that point, and we'll be looking kind of more like our old selves defensively, and then we can really, really push on in that second half of the season, have a real go in the competitions that we're in. Whether we'll still be in the FA Cup or not, I don't know, but certainly, you know, into the knockout stages, the last 16 of the Europa League, which obviously now we're going to go all out in. We're going to have our first team out in those games. Really going for it, which is really exciting. I can't wait for Europa League knockout phase to start up for us.
That's
That's
right
going to
around the
be
corner,
amazing.
which is insane to think about.
Yeah, I'm just waiting next month in February for the last 32 ties to be played, and then I mean, the morning when that draw is being made for the last 16 and we're in it, some of the teams in there are going to be like really, really big sides. You know, great sides that we could potentially play,
I don't
and
know
it's going
if
to be so exciting.
I don't know if the commentators on your end were talking about it or not, but they were here in the States on NBC. Uh, the fans at the stadium, our fans at the stadium today, they started chanting, "We're coming for you! We're coming for you! Barcelona, we're coming for you!"
Yeah, I love a bit of banter, but can you
Oh
imagine
yeah,
when you? I know there's two lines of thought on this. Some people would prefer we draw like the worst possible team we can get to, you know, progress into the quarterfinals. And other people are thinking, look, we don't know how often we're going to be here. And, you know, to be bringing a team, for example, like Barcelona or Dortmund or someone to the London Stadium and getting to play in their stadium in a knockout competition in Europe, I mean, that to me would
absolutely
just be
insane.
heaven. Okay, there's a greater chance that you get knocked out, but fucking hell, man, you know, you get the likes of Barcelona, Napoli, Dortmund. You know, I mean, can you imagine a Thursday night at the London Stadium with Barcelona rocking up or Dortmund rocking up? I mean, just the atmosphere, the buzz,
That'd be
sitting at home
incredible.
for those of us who won't get to go, like sitting at home, like watching it live on TV, like your team, our West Ham, our little old West Ham playing Barcelona or Dortmund or someone in a big European game, a knockout game, and that for me would be just heaven. I mean, that's what it's all about. I'd rather get a really big team like that, and just for the buzz of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, who knows? I mean, we could push on in the Europa League, but to your point of who knows how many times we'll be there. I mean, we're sitting right on the verge. We're on the bridge between Europa League and Champions League spots right now. We're only a point off of Champions League, and we're over halfway into the season now. Like it is kind of time to take West Ham a little bit more seriously. I think that's kind of the
Yeah,
point where it's like, okay, we're solidified here. We are fighting for these positions.
yeah, that's it exactly. And you know, we're in a strong position right now. So you know, we didn't have a great December. You know, the wheels came off a little bit, a real dip in form, largely to do with injuries to key players all at the same time. But with the win against um, win against Watford and the win today against Palace, both away from home. Let's not forget. Um,
Yeah.
you know that's kind of really steadied the ship for us now. Like I say, we're only a point behind Arsenal, who are fourth. So, like I say, if we can win these two league games coming up against Norwich and Leeds, you know, going into February with players coming back, new additions to the squad, we'll be in a brilliant position to really, really attack in the run-in to the season. You know, the final kind of quarter of the season, shall we say, or final third of the season, we'll be in a great position to really challenge on all fronts. Europa League as well, and we'll put ourselves in a great position, to push on. And like I said to you earlier in the season, that I even when we were having our wobble, I said to you, I genuinely believe that we're a good team. We're just having a bad run of form. We've got key players injured, but I said to you, I still believe in my heart that we're not a flash in the pan. That David Moyes is doing the job that we think he's doing, and that we will be right in the mix at the end of the season for, at the very least, Europa League spot again. And I think with 3 games to go, we'll be in with a shout of a Champions League spot. I really believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just have a lot of confidence moving forward as well. Like like I said earlier, I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to look down on other teams saying, "Oh, we should beat them" or anything. But after the match with Leeds, it's Norwich, Leeds, away to United, home to Watford. We should win at least 3 of those matches. No, we should.
Yes, we absolutely. Yeah, we should be looking for a minimum of 9 points from the 12. And if we can get something at Old Trafford as well, I mean, that would be massive bonus. Obviously, that's a much more difficult game. But we're capable of going there and getting something. So I think Norwich, I'm like you, I don't like complacency, but it's okay for me to say it as long as the players are focused and Moyes is focused, which of course they will be. But I fully expect that we will win at home to Norwich. I just don't see any other results. I mean, Norwich are so poor. We will beat Norwich at home. I really believe that. And then obviously it will come down to the Leeds game a few days later. That will be a bit tougher, but obviously we're still very capable of winning that game. So like I say, get the 6 points there. We put ourselves, in a really, really strong position, because we'll only get better and stronger, I think, with players coming back and hopefully a couple of additions to the squad in January. So I'm optimistic. And I think given, that December wasn't great, I think if you look at the table where we sit now, if that's our wobble for the season, you'll take it.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll take it, given where our position in the league right now. If that's our wobble out of the way, which we all, fingers crossed, hope is the case, then and we can go on and have a strong second half of the season, then there's a lot to look forward to, I think, and a lot more to come from West Ham.
Yeah, I definitely don't, like you said, I don't think this is a flash in the pan. I think we're here to stay. I think we're going to be fighting the entire way. Now, obviously, do I think we're going to win the Premier League? Unfortunately, no. It's not realistic. But we've shown the capability. We've shown the desire, the drive to finish in these kind of places. Now it's just about just getting down and doing the work and getting there. And I think that we have the capability. I think we have the players to do it. Get in a couple reinforcements, some fresh legs, and we're nearly there. It's just a matter of just keeping this going.
Yeah, I think our worst case scenario is 7th, in my opinion. I think that's the worst case scenario. If you look at, obviously the top 3 are clear, but after that, it's Arsenal, ourselves, Tottenham, Man United, 4 teams battling it out to see who can finish in that 4th place spot. And I think we'll be in that hunt right till the finish. And even if we kind of fail to get there just again, I think we'll still be 5th, 6th. I think we'll still be playing Europa League football next season.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. And I mean, who knows? I mean, if we go on and win the Europa League, we'll be in the Champions League. Yeah. So,
because I do think there's a drop off after that. The other teams after that, whether you're talking about likes of Villa, Leeds, Everton, all these kind of teams, Southampton, who are kind of Palace, who are kind of hovering around in their top 10 positions, I don't see any of them challenging Arsenal, Tottenham, United, ourselves for those spots. I don't think they're good enough.
No, I completely agree. This is 2021 was a magical year to be a West Ham fan. I believe Neil put it in 73 points in the calendar year 2021. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better
astonishing
year. And
astonishing.
22 2022 has started off with a bang. Granted, a little bit of a nervy bang, but take the 3 points and run with it.
Yeah.
I think we
Or,
build on here.
yeah, I would love to obviously finish fourth. That would be an unbelievable season. I'll be delighted if we're top 6 again. But I think my big dream, my big dream, Chris, is that we win the Europa League, become Europa League champions. That gives us Champions League football next season anyway. So, I mean, if we were to lift the Europa League, I mean, that would just be astonishing. An astonishing achievement, given.
And who knows? We can challenge for the FA Cup as well. Who knows? We could. I mean, we have the potential to do a double this year.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario, obviously, but if you offered me Europa League win right now, I mean, I'd bite your hand off. I wouldn't even ask you where we finish in the table. Wouldn't give a shit. Frankly, to win the Europa League, I mean, it would just be an absolute dream. It's a prestigious competition, and for us to be Europa League champions, I mean, it would just be unbelievable. We'd have Champions League next season. I mean, talk about, next summer, then attracting players becomes easy.
Yeah, it makes it easy to build around a player like Declan too, which again, it's another episode where we don't even talk about him just because he's different. He's a different class. I mean, he's insane. I mean, there's nothing we can say to hype his praise enough.
No. Who said Spurs to finish fourth?
No, he's joking. He's saying Spurs finish fourth. We win Europa, and because of the way it works, we hold the Champions League spots. They can't get in.
Now, personally, I hope Tottenham finish at the back of the pack in like seventh and have to go into and have to play Conference League again. That would be amazing.
Well, they crashed out of that, so they can't even win that. So why are they winning the Champions League?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Tottenham. They're not winning a thing. And I don't think they finished fourth either, frankly. So look, optimistic for the rest of the season, Chris. Despite today when we almost threw away 2 points, we didn't. Yeah. And at the end of the day, once that final whistle goes and 3 points are in the bag, that's all that matters. By hook or by crook, just get the win. 3 points are in the bag. The win is kind of in the books, as it were, and you have to be happy with a win always.
Well, listen, before we wrap it up here, is there anything else you would like to mention?
Oh, just that obviously we're absolutely massive.
Hell yeah. Well, listen, everyone. Thank you yet again for joining us for another post-match show. I hope everyone had a great holiday season again. I hope everyone has a happy New Year's. Off to a flying start. We will be back here on the 9th next Sunday following the FA Cup match against Leeds. Hopefully we can turn them. Hopefully it's it's a cakewalk, but it's West Ham. We'll see. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, mate?
No, that's it. Just thanks everyone for joining us. Congratulations again to Kate, to Katie. Delighted for you, and keep the faith. There's a long way to go in this season. We're still a very good side. We're going to get stronger with players coming back. Hopefully the end of this month, and we're going to be in this thing. Just trust the process. We are a very good side. Despite the fact we're struggling a little bit defensively at the moment, we're still a very good side, and we're only gonna. I think we're gonna have a strong second half of the season. I really believe that. And so
I agree.
Exciting times ahead, and hopefully a fucking massive draw in the last 16. Give us Barcelona or Dortmund. I would fucking love that.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, Tommy, for joining me as always. Thank you for everyone in the chat. We will see you back here next Sunday. Until then, come on, you Irons.